Would you say that Gershwin was, in your close association, would you characterize him as a genius?
Yes and no. Yes, of course he was a genius. I mean, think of his other musical things. Think of the
Rhapsody in
Blue,
American in Paris.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, what's a genius?
Yes, that's what I want to know about you. What you thought? That's what I know.
Well, of course, I thought he was a great musician. I don't know that I picked the word genius.
Yes, okay.
See, yes. But I mean, that's what a genius is, isn't it?
Traditionally,
yes. Here's a picture of George Gershwin. That's a very serious picture of him. There is Todd Duncan and Anne Brown and Ruben Mamoulian from Hollywood, who did the regie for Porgy and Bess, and that's the stage manager. I was still a student at the Juilliard School of Music in my last year, and I read in a New York afternoon newspaper, evening paper, I think it was The Sun, I'm not sure, but that George Gershwin was writing an opera based on Du Bois Haywood's story of life in Charleston, South Carolina, among black people, and that he would be on the lookout for talented young, well, he didn't say young, talented black singers to sing the different roles. And I said, this sounds interesting, and maybe I can get a little role in this. A couple of days later, his secretary called and said, Mr. Gershwin, received your letter. It's very interesting, and he would like you to come down and have an audition. And you can bring your own accompanist. And I brought an accompanist who was also a student at the school, a girl, and went down to George Gershwin, and I sang. I think I sang some Brahms and some Massenet and all the classical,
the standard stuff,
things, and he seemed pleased. Well, I knew that he liked what I was doing, and I knew I was a good singer.
Yes.
So that was the first thing. Then he said to me, will you sing a Negro spiritual? I've been singing German and French and so on. And right away, my resentment awakened with a bang. I said, here's someone who only thinks that if you're a Negro singer, you must sing Negro spirituals.
Stereotypical.
Yeah, stereotype. So I said, weren't you satisfied with what I sang? Oh, yes, he said. You have a beautiful voice, you have a very good technique, but after all, this opera I'm writing is based on Negro life in South Carolina. I'd like to hear how you sing a spiritual. Yeah, okay. I said, in my arrogance, I didn't bring any of that music with me. And he said, well, can you sing something without an accompaniment? Yes. And so I sang a song called City Called Heaven.
You mean, I am a poor pilgrim? That's what okay.
And I could feel while I was singing that he was pleased. I sang without accompaniment. Sometimes, and when I was finished, he said, that was wonderful. You should sing it without an accompaniment. Wherever you go, you should always sing that spiritual. So I knew I was in some way or another, that he was pleased, and maybe I'd get a little role in this opera he was writing. And yeah, a few days later he called and asked me if I would sing for his brother, and so I went down and sang for his brother. And another week later he asked me if I would sing for Smallens, who was going to be the conductor, and I went down and sang for Smallens. And another time I sang for his mother and his other brother, and so on. So every week or so I was going to George Gershwin's apartment and singing for somebody or another. So, and I could see that he had probably said she's a good singer, and so they were prepared to hear, and they agreed. So that was that. It seems that everybody was satisfied, including me. And then, and then, of course, as time went on, he invited me down to hear more of the music he had composed for Porgy.
Yes.
And I did that, and of course I fell in love with Summertime. And one day this is much later, he said, "You think you could sing the role of Bess?" I said, "Yes, why not?"